Well, this is great. Thanks for joining me. Season 2 of Gumbo Talks, episode 1, we had a lot of cool learnings last year. And the one thing that we learned the most is that we had to have all of you on this show. It's a phenomenal cast. We're gonna have a great time. Be comfortable, let's dig in. The question, we're starting the season off the same way. Started last season, and we did that by accident. I mean, quite honestly, we started the question as a result of just kind of an icebreaker. I joke with you a lot about how I don't have a broadcasting or a journalism background, so that was kind of the easy cop-out. Ask this question, put it in the hands, and it latched, right? And well, we've got a new component to it, where now I have crew behind the camera who, you know, shout out to Jayla and Raven and all the incredible people who make this work.
Yeah.
That we've guessed or we've come up to a conclusion as to what we think you're gonna say and who we think you're gonna pick as a result of this question. So the question itself, one's gotta go. So the way you answer this is you talk about the person that has to go, and then you talk about the person that has to stay, right? So your pick is who stays. One body of work, one individual, humanity, whatever you wanna latch onto is based on your criteria. Beyonce or Janet Jackson?
What? Oh my God.
Somebody gotta go.
Oh.
And this question was strategic because, like, a Payton might have not. I know his people. He had some Janet going in the house growing up, so I know his folks. So this is a good question for this group. Jump in. Somebody gotta go. Beyonce or Janet Jackson?
I'm looking around wondering, is everyone really thinking this hard about this question?
I
like that.
The boldness.
I like that.
No.
Well, you go first, Fran.
Okay, I am so all in on Janet. Icon, absolute icon. Beyonce came after the fact and still has not, I mean, yes, she's a star. She's a superstar, but I don't know, I'm all in on Janet. I kind of have to be there, right?
We'll see Janet here. And how long we got? How many days we got before we see Janet?
I don't know, like 20
days?
something,
20 days.
something.
So Janet stays for you. Beyonce has to go.
All day.
And the foundation of that is she laid the foundation.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Man.
He is struggling. He is not going to sleep well.
I think that it is hard because I don't want to take anything away from Janet.
Yeah.
I love Janet. Pop icon. But when you talk about like megastar, like in this age of the internet and streaming, Beyonce just takes it. Like for me, I mean, to the point where like the things that she does, we wrap it into our everyday language. Before I leave the house, am I Beyonce? Like, do I have my Beyonce look on? And my family knows exactly what I mean.
Almost the standard.
Am I the star while I'm walking out of this house? And then outside of that, her music is phenomenal. But I think also her union with Jay-Z and what they built is something that we really haven't seen. Like their family and just a spotlight on them. So I'm picking Beyonce.
It is dynamic. You stand with Beyonce.
Oof.
Yes.
Okay.
We can do a whole episode on just your reaction.
This is so deep. It's so deep. But like, Rickell, you helped clarify where I'm going to go. So I'm going to say this. I am going to go with Janet. And here's why I'm going to go with Janet. The thing that I love about Beyonce is her work ethic. I think that if you see someone that is about their craft and you look at them from, you know, where they started in the scene to now, from how she speaks, dance, I'm just in awe of her work ethic. I think the brilliance of Beyonce is that she's an incredible collaborator. She surrounds herself with brilliant people and they bring a product to her. Janet, Pleasure Principle, she had a crop top, a black jean, a flat sole sneaker, and a wrap.
With the bangs.
With the bangs. And, you know, dipped on over that chair. It's incredible. It was just like her raw talent. Right? And then you think about poetic justice, right? She gave us the box braids with the little leotard top and then the hat.
I feel like that's when we met Janet.
Yes, right.
You know what I mean? Like the real Janet from Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, I'm feeling good as I talk through.
You stand with Janet.
I'm staying with Janet.
That's a shocker for the team. We thought you were going the other way. We thought you were going the other way.
Oh, I guess
we'll say why.
I guess
Go
I'm
ahead.
last. So he brought up a good point, poetic justice. Janet and Pop, I kind of lead towards that, but I'm still going with Beyonce.
Oh, you stand with Beyonce?
I'm still with Beyonce. Because, I mean, me being a little bit younger, I'm looking for my woman to be like Beyonce.
Oh.
You feel me?
Talk to him.
You feel
Let
me?
him
So
know.
like
Let him know.
her and Jay-Z they're different, but Beyonce has always been that standard. Going back to that a little bit, when you think of my age group or my generation, that Beyonce that's that fine woman in our age group. So I'm sticking with Beyonce for sure. I'm staying with that.
Who we say Payton was picking? I said Beyonce. We said Beyonce. We got Fran at Janet. We thought that might be contractual. No, I'm
dead.
But we did think you.
I'm not shocked. I thought you were Beyonce, but I'm not.
This is why I thought you was going Beyonce. I thought you was going Beyonce for more of the social impact work that she does, that representation of what Rock Nation and her and Jay-Z are doing with the Super Bowl and using that platform to spread the message. Not saying that you're wrong. I agree.
No.
But that's why knowing you, that's the only reason why I thought he's going Beyonce.
And I think that has a huge impact for sure. And everything that Rickell, you're saying. And I think that was a part of a later sort of evolution.
It was, yeah.
But I just think about Janet, and I think about the Jacksons, and I think about what they have meant sort of historically to Black people and Black families, and that legacy.
Almost organically,
they're just
doing
organically there. And then to sort of see Janet after sort of Michael's death, and then this new this sort of there was that documentary that came out where
it was really good too.
Kind of like a rebirth.
The recent documentary?
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be good because she started crying 35 seconds into it. I was like,
It was
this is going to be good. All she had to do was see that mirror of her brothers.
Yeah.
And I also realized during that process how much she loves her brothers.
Yes.
I mean.
There's always been some mystique behind Janet though.
That's
So that's
true.
why we were acting like it was a premiere of the newest
Right.
movie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Popcorn and everything, because we wanted to hear her talk about her life
Yep.
and the Jacksons, and not in a corny way, like some of the movies or behind the music.
Yeah.
It was coming from her.
Yeah.
So it was really good.
Fran, the one thing, I'm enjoying the most about the evolution of Cincinnati Music Festival. Well, I got to say this. I'm going to say it one time. My mom watched this show. She's going to be like, call it the Jazz Festival, right? Call it the Jazz Festival. But anyway, the Cincinnati Music Festival is, and you and I talked about this, is the bridging of the gap of the artists, right? And how we are now, in recent years, we've seen the Roots, we've seen Common, now we're seeing Janet, artists who can cross generations. How important is that as you guys are continuously building this festival after 58 years, but 56 where it's actually been action? What's the thought process behind that?
I think it's probably the most important thing we're focusing on right now. We laugh in our office that our crowd has been getting old, right? We have so many fans that have been coming out year after year after year. And what's most important for us is to put somebody on that lineup that brings the next generation along with their family to Cincinnati. So I think it's so important. And it's really hard because a lot of the feedback we get is, why didn't you bring Frankie Beverly back again? Why didn't you, nothing against Frankie.
Sure.
We've got to keep having him. But it's also so important to keep switching it up.
For sure.
So you can never please everybody, but I think our number one priority is to find those sweet spot artists that your mom and your auntie love, but also you are loving as well as younger, part of this world. Yeah.
That was the fear. I remember when the pandemic hit and the Janet Jackson announcement had came out, and everyone was like, man, we're gonna lose Janet, right?
I know.
And then year 2 hit of the pandemic, and we're like, we definitely ain't getting Janet back.
I know.
So super, super excited that you guys held tight. Follow-up question on that matter. How did the all-white Frankie Beverly thing happen? Did a memo go out, or did people just show up, they just know? Because it's crazy to see that, right? An arena full of people wearing all white.
Okay, so this year we have a new person handling our program book.
Okay.
It's Cincinnati Magazine, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
And people go and collect these program books. Do you guys have any program books?
They're like,
Kenyatta probably.
Yeah.
yes,
for
I mean,
sure.
people
He
collect them
definitely
year
does.
after year. It's like having a t-shirt. And
For sure.
So, okay, this is a big deal to be having a new company doing our program books. So we were brainstorming, let's have some more editorial content. I thought, let's make one of the articles to be, why do we wear all white on Saturday?
That's a vibe.
Because I always thought
it was because Frankie wears white on Saturday, so eventually people just
started showing up wearing white for Frankie.
Well, we started interviewing all of these people who came. And 3 separate people told us that they are the ones that started this trend. Like ticket sellers,
credit. That's
ticket
hilarious.
sellers in Cincinnati, some guy in Chicago we know. Everybody we were asking, like, hey, how did this start? Everybody wanted to say, like, well, my group, we started wearing white.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. But I really think it just caught on because Frankie always wore white. Every once in a while, though, he would switch it up and wear all red or all black. Like he's done some, switch ups.
I mean, it's
from
like
here
a
and
thing.
there.
People know.
But it's a thing. I just got an
People
email.
know.
I got an email yesterday from our website. Is this still a thing? Are we wearing white on Saturday? I write back to everybody, yep, wear your all white. I don't know why,
That's
but we
hilarious.
do it. I know, I love
That's
it.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Payton, let's talk about culture of the Smith League.
Okay.
First and foremost,
Okay.
I am so incredibly proud of you. I've known you since you were 13 years old.
12, 13, yeah.
12, 13 years old. And what people don't know is that I met you through my brother, who is your friend, still your friend, who has been incarcerated for 9 years now, right?
Yep.
And to watch you develop and make certain decisions in your life while still maintaining your childhood friendships with people that you love who made decisions that they ended up at the wrong end of the stick has just been incredible. And to watch the city corral around you, thousands of people showing up to a gymnasium to watch something that you created. Jared just called before the show started and I said, Payton's in the back, he's gonna try to catch you before he leaves. But I'm just proud of you, man.
Thank you.
It's absolutely incredible. Talk about Smith League a little bit, how it came
So
about.
Smith League started 2018. Started with T-shirts, 6 teams. It was a project while I was in school at Wilmington.
Playing basketball.
Playing basketball. I played basketball at Division III.
You was a decent ball player.
I was. I can hoop a little bit. But growing up, I was never like the best. I never was considered the best. Always people's like second chance. And I created the league to like create a league of my own, pretty much showing that I can provide something elite, high level. As of lately, I've been in contact with Jordan, Nike.
Crazy.
Nice.
Fully NCAA sponsored or NCAA certified, fully NBA certified, pulling.
Which means that the athletes can come play in the league.
Yep.
And those leagues are okay with that,
Yep.
right? Because
Yep.
it's a trusted ally.
Yeah. Without those, we don't move, we don't grow. Pulling NBA guys, I can call any NBA executive right now. I can call Calipari, Louisville's head coach, UC's head coach, Xavier's head coach. I keep going down the list. These contacts, it's been crazy for me.
And how old are you, Payton?
24.
That's wild. 24 years old. Started it when you were 22, right out of college.
Yep, I think I was 21.
Yeah, 21.
21.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was my senior project.
That's unbelievable.
I have a question. When you had the first thought to do this, did you ever think it would become this big?
Oh, no. I tell me and my friends talk about it all the time. We're like, bro, if you would have told me in 2018 it would get to this point, I would laugh at you. There's no
That's
way.
wild. That's how the best things happen. And it's going to be bigger. and it's gonna grow bigger. Congratulations,
Thank
keep
you.
going.
Thank you.
We all there. And I got my courtside seats. I walk in, Payton like, you got courtside seats? I'm like, get out of the way, person. Payton said I'm supposed to be here. We hit on something, Rickell. What you're doing is incredible. Your want and your desire to serve people, along with Councilmember Harris, has been something I've just fell in love with, and you two as people. We talked about my brother, and I don't share that story often, right? I just shared because Payton's on the show, and how you're running for juvenile judge. Like, talk about the passion behind that and what you're looking to do and why it's so important to you.
So I'm a civil rights attorney. I'm also a wife, but most importantly, I'm a mother.
Yeah.
And becoming a mother while I was in school really set the pathway for me to be exactly where I am, and that's running for office. I was going to drop out of law school.
Wow.
And had to talk to like my family and friends to see if I can get the support needed, with a newborn baby and doing the most challenging thing I've ever done. Obviously, I did graduate.
There you go.
When I walked across that stage, I took my baby. He was on my hip.
Oh, I love it.
Across the stage. And when I got that piece of paper in my hand, I knew that I was going to spend my career removing all barriers, the barriers that I face.
Sure.
I wanted to remove it for other people, reform the system, and just serve children and families. And that's exactly what I ended up doing. Now, my story is not uncommon, and it's not tragic either, because that baby boy I carried across the stage just graduated. He is headed to Morgan State.
That's awesome.
In the fall. But, I spent the last 15 years representing young people and families in some really harsh conditions. Like the way that we as a society treat children, we all on the surface say we love children, right? We'll give them all the funding. We want to put it towards education. However, the things that I have seen happen in youth prisons, the way that families who are living in poverty are treated, it does not line up with that value that we love children. And I know after all of the things that I've done representing kids and family, including suing the juvenile court here, that the only way to bring fairness, equity, compassion, and support to the families that walk into 800 Broadway, I have to make decisions from the bench and not just practice in front of it. So this is, the community support that I have received has just been completely overwhelming. And
it's deserving to them.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's been word of mouth though. This is my first campaign. I have never even hinted to people that, I wanted to run for office. I'm not a politician. This is what they told me I needed to do to get the job.
Yeah, to go on the bench, yeah.
So I'm gonna do it. And, having a baby in law school used to be the most challenging thing I've ever done. Running a campaign is now the most challenging thing that I've done, because to hold on to your authenticity while also being judged 24/7.
A lot of scrutiny.
Exactly. And the thing that I'm most concerned about as I'm walking this pathway that was already designed for me, right? I'm just walking into what was already created for me. I worry about my children. I don't want anybody to.
That's the mother in you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what caused me, to go in a different place, to break character.
But that's also why that's going to make you an incredible judge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we will call you judge.
Absolutely. Speaking into existence.
Judge Rickell.
Woo! We got to come over here to you.
I just want to comment on what everyone else said. Like, this is something this is so great.
A few things I didn't know until recently. Ballet trained. Knew you were a Chicago native. Didn't know you grew up on the South Side. Inglewood, right?
Yep.
I sit on the board of Cincinnati Ballet, and we joked. You talked about, hey, I didn't know anything about Cincinnati, but the ballet. How does a young black boy get exposure to the ballet living on the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
Scott Altman is gonna love this question from Cincinnati Ballet.
So it's so interesting, right? Because I actually can kind of tie it to several of your stories. So it was a family business. My uncle, so he's not my uncle, but you know how we were in black families.
Yeah.
He's my
That's
mom's
uncle.
first cousin.
Yeah.
He's my mom's first cousin, but I called him my uncle, and his name was, I called him Uncle Ricky. He was Marshall Ricardo Lindsay.
All right. We got we're here.
He dropped out of high school. You didn't drop out, but you were very young when you started Smithley. He dropped out of high school, but was trained in dance, opened a dance school.
In his early 20s.
Yeah. Like early, same man, he was like 20. Opened a dance school. And it was really like, it was African dance and it was modern dance. And what he did was that he rented out gyms and, little dinky spaces on the south side of Chicago and taught young Black kids, mostly young Black women, how to dance. And at the time it was called Marshall Lindsay School of Dance and Charm. Right. And he was like everything that like I was taught Black people should be. He loved Black people. He supported Black businesses. It was about holding your head up high. It was about being proud of yourself. But he was also gay. That part people knew, didn't talk about, but he didn't hide from it, but he sort of did. And I knew that I was gay at a very young age, and like I saw how people looked at him, so I really gravitated towards him. So I started dancing, fell in love with dancing. I could dance. I have this, the facility for dance. And he died when I was 12. He died of AIDS. And so like that figure was just sort of gone from my life. But it turned out that same year, this man named Homer Bryan, who was a former principal dancer with the Dance Theater of Harlem, so he joined the company when it first started in '68. He moved to Chicago and opened a school. Oh, wow. And through a friend of a friend, I went to a concert and I saw it. And I'm an only child. I was independent, so I'm like 12, downtown at a show. I go to the studio the next day after the show. And I was like, my uncle just died. I want to dance. Right. I don't got no money. My mama don't have no money, but like,
I want to dance.
I want to dance. And he said, come back the next day. He gave me like a schedule. And so I like swept the floor.
Wow.
Watered the plants, did the stuff. And I started training in classical ballet. And I loved it. And I understand it. And I know it. And he had a cold library. And so like I've read every book about ballet. I can tell you everything from Bournonville to the French school to the Vaganova system. I know the whole syllabus, right? It is just, I understood it. And I wanted to do it professionally. My family wanted me to be a lawyer, but I didn't. So I graduated from high school.
Mine too. Mine too.
But I would also say this, the South Side in Inglewood at the time, I grew up in BD Nation, BD territory, the Black Disciples. So Chicago is like the GDs and the BDs. And there were just some folks on the block who were BDs who just kind of looked after me.
I had that same thing. I had that same thing.
You know that same thing. So I just skirt right around it because I had some older BDs who were like, he's special.
Yeah. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone. And so that's how it
so
happened.
important though, like in communities, right? And we look at that inner city urban culture, and I feel like that's the part that we miss, is that unknown, unwritten sort of code of looking out for one another. That's dynamic. The timing, when you tell that story, I think about timing a lot, right? And sort of the stars aligning from a timing perspective. When it comes to Smithley, do you feel like, because you started it, was it right before pandemic or during? It
was right before.
It was right before.
Right before.
Do you feel like timing has played a key role in success?
Yes.
Because it's overnight success, bro.
We'll see. Most people don't. COVID changed me in a good way.
Okay.
I met most of my contacts during COVID.
Okay.
And that probably changed and elevated the league more than it probably could have. Without that COVID year, I don't think I'm at this position right now.
Wow.
Yeah, because there was nothing to do during COVID but hoop.
Also, you were
tunnel vision. I was literally, that's it. And
Yeah.
keep in mind, I'm not supposed to have these keys to this gym, but all we doing is hooping. All we doing is hooping. And,
if there's a will, there's a way.
yeah, and like these UC dudes, these Xavier dudes, they're here, but they can't play nowhere. There's only one spot to come hoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Drew League was an inspiration, right? Where's the Drew League based out of?
LA.
LA. Big inspiration for you.
Huge inspiration.
Okay.
He's they've been going for, this is their 49th year.
That's crazy.
People don't realize a summer league is a
grind.
risk.
Yeah.
It's a
yeah.
risk.
Big time.
It's a risk. And to do it for 49 years, that's unmatched.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
And he does some great stuff out there. But it's LA.
It's LA, yeah. You know what? People say that though. Fran, you and I talked about this a little bit. We have, and you and I talk about this a lot, this idea that this is too big for Cincinnati, right? That's what people used to tell me all the time. Because I hate it too. And you start to create these things. When you guys feel that friction early on, specifically when, you know, it's just like that's too big for Cincinnati. Because we're trying to get to the level,
Right.
with the Palooza on our platform, we want 60,000 people.
Right.
And we look at, and that's how you and I were connected. It's from almost like a mentorship standpoint, because you guys if people don't realize, it's a 4-person team. Am I right? 4 or 5?
Yes, but that's embarrassing.
No, that's not embarrassing. That's incredible.
We should have a lot more.
That's
but yes,
incredible.
It's small. Yeah, I mean, I think too it's frustrating because it is so big. It's the largest urban music festival in the country.
That's crazy.
By the numbers. When you look at the numbers attending the concert. So like Essence Festival in New Orleans, they have a lot of attendees that attend the free event at the convention center.
Sure.
So the numbers that they produce, it's like a holistic thing.
I'm going for the first time this weekend.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
It's
this
really
weekend.
fun.
Yep.
But they'll combine the free convention center numbers with the concert numbers, and that is how they look so much bigger than us. But the concert itself is the largest and oldest music festival in the country.
That's crazy.
Really?
And I think because it's in Cincinnati, people don't give it the credit that it is due just by the numbers. You know what I mean?
That's wild.
Like if it was pick up the show and put it in Chicago or New York, and it would be expected. Okay, this is the biggest urban music festival. But I think, Cincinnati it's frustrating.
There's some frustration there.
Yeah. Because, I really love Cincinnati. I think this is an incredible city. And one of the things that's incredible about Cincinnati is that these stories, are not uncommon. You meet people and you, go to these, restaurants that people love have these, just obscure beginnings. And they're like, yeah, I fried a piece of fish in my kitchen one day and I sold it, and now everybody want my that's so Cincinnati for something to happen. And then part of the frustration is that at what point and what's going to be the right sauce? And I think about a lot about this as an elected, that they stop becoming one-offs, but are part of a complete narrative, right? There's a complete narrative in which that you have Cincinnati Music Fest, and then you have, Palooza Noir come in, and then you have this tradition of elected and Black elected officials that have had mentorship, and then you have young Black folks in the city killing it. I met this dude, I went to this event, I was like, what? I don't go to stuff like this in New York, right? I know that it exists, but I don't have the opportunity to be yo, come to this thing. And I come and I'm like, I get there too late, sold out. Right. I didn't even get to buy my Jordan. I just wanted to not become these one-off incredible things, but to be conceptualized as a city in which these things are possible.
Yeah, I sent, after Juneteenth block party, I sent Jill Meyer a video of about 8,000 people doing a swag surf on Freedom Way, right on the Mason-Dixie line with the bridge behind it. And then I sent the follow-up video of the same Juneteenth event following day in New Jersey, right at is it Liberty Memorial Park, and it's huge, right? And you can't tell the difference between the two, right? And that's New York, New Jersey, right? And I'm glad that we're at a place right now in Cincinnati where it's okay to be inspired by something, but we're not trying to create the Cincinnati version of the Drew League. We're creating the Smith League.
Yeah.
That's what we're creating. And I think over the last, call it, decade or so, we've owned that a bit more. And I think that's why we're beginning to see the evolution. Cincinnati, in my opinion, is under a Black creative renaissance.
100.
I can see that.
For sure.
Yeah.
The where we need to go with it is amplifying it, being billboards for it. Because we have the G Hortons and the Red Light Jazz Rooms with Lex Nicole. I go to other cities and I don't see these things. We talked about Columbus, and I do love Columbus, but I was joking with some Columbus creatives just yesterday over brunch. And we were talking about the landscape of their city and the landscape of our city. And I just said it. I said, when it comes to the creative side, we will destroy. Like, you feel me? You put us in that, you put Lex and G and Means, and it'll be 7 Black owns, 13 Black coffees. We'd own every building. That's just how we grit, hustle, right?
And there's a younger generation that's that's being built up right now
Oh my
to
goodness.
take the torch.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I think creates like this sustainable change and transforms it into exactly what you said. Is having a younger generation that's right here, already doing the work, that's gonna create the Cincinnati that turns into the Austin. Remember how we saw
for sure.
Austin
No, that's a vibe.
go from, what's happening in Austin to, South by Southwest and,
People
all
go
these,
to Austin now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how your platform specifically is going to save, I'm just gonna say that word, save the souls and lives of young people who we know have a greatness within them.
Oh,
right?
the pressure he just put on you.
She can handle it. She's signing up for this.
You see it as a pressure. And you're saying it, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I really do feel like that every single young person has a gift.
Yeah.
And we got all these systems. It's pressing all of us down.
Yes.
On top of the pandemic, and everybody's trying to climb their way out.
Yeah.
But these young people, I have never, and even the young people that I've represented that have admitted to doing some pretty bad things, never met a young person that didn't freely talk about and give their gift. There is, even in a young person that has been thrown to the side, and I hate to see it, there's still this innocence in them that's like, once I get rid of this, then I can actually create. Then I can actually be an entrepreneur. I want to open up a barbershop. I want to do this. And those are the things that when I meet young people, I try to peel off the what we all consider to be the bad things, the bad acts, and look at what do you want to be?
And it's layer by layer.
And you're probably peeling off things that people have placed upon them. That's the other thing with young folks,
for sure.
right? Like you're peeling off this stuff that
They're not even,
systems
they shouldn't even have to own,
Yes.
right? No, absolutely.
Exactly.
They shouldn't have to own it.
And it takes some time, but I will tell you, when kids are going through the court system in particular, they don't even talk to their lawyers because they feel like that everybody is against them.
Wow.
Everybody is against them. So I used to, in representing young people, have to take extra time. And I think they kind of saw me as maybe like an auntie or,
Which is important.
I was young back then.
Which is
so
good. Now
maybe
you're
like
young
the
now.
young cool, young cool auntie. But it was, I done had them cuss me out, tell me to
I can only
leave.
imagine.
And that's what everybody else does. They leave and they don't come back. So I may leave because you're not gonna talk to me like that. But when I come back, they like, she came back.
Yep.
Well, Rickell, there's this thing you just said about systems and institutions. And I taught at a public performing arts high school, and I taught classical ballet. And one of the things that I learned, right, is that when you train in classical ballet, there are these set of assumptions that successful students have. So one assumption is that, you enter into the studio and ballet is very hierarchical. The teacher's in front, you don't talk back, there's no crying, you're silent. We literally bow at the end of class. You bow to the pianist, you bow to the teacher. Yeah, it's the reverence is what it's called. But you enter the room and the assumption is that you trust the adult in the front of the room, and the assumption is that you trust institutions. And when I was working with particularly a lot of young Black kids, they were like, I don't know you.
That trust factor is a little different.
I'm not gonna do this just because. And so I literally had to rewrite a curriculum to retrain teachers to be like, well, what does it mean to teach kids that don't have that inherent trust in the adult in the system? And so the work is actually on us to be trustworthy.
Yes.
And
like a switch.
You got these little kids. Yeah. I had 35 young Black men who were like taking ballet, like serious, like they into it. Footworking on Saturday.
On Saturday.
It's just, it is,
Hey, real quick before we wrap up, Payton, I'm compelled to tell you this. Your platform is about to get real big. You don't have to be perfect, okay? But you're gonna have some people looking after you who are your age and younger, right below you, that I'm just a little out of the range of, right? And you got some folks that you're gonna have to look out for, right? To make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to win, so that they can put themselves in a position to win. You should know that. But the biggest thing I want you to know is you don't have to be perfect, right? That platform is gonna get big. It's gonna create a lot of eyes and a lot of energy, and it's okay to just be Payton. All the time, every time, keep nailing it. It's gonna be phenomenal. Real quick before we wrap up, we was talking about Cincinnati Music Festival and how we can guess where people from. So Chicago, what do they wear? When you walk downtown, Chicago, bright colors.
All the way from the shoes to the hat.
All the way.
But I have a story.
I gotta hear the story.
Me and my husband are coming up on our 5th anniversary. So we just got married.
Congratulations.
Not too long ago. But the day that we got married, I said, I never told you this before, but now we have to wear matching outfits to the jazz.
To Jazz Festival.
Have you done it yet?
Absolutely.
This sounds like something that should go on a program.
Yeah, absolutely. So
every year?
Yeah, we coordinate.
Coordinate now, not yet.
Right. So, but that growing up, that is what I always saw as like a nice couple, a strong marriage. Like I just loved it. Like
that's the vibe.
They would have the white and the peach, and the woman would have on the peach, with the matching cape. Like I always loved that, and I never stepped away from that dream. So after we got married, and he complied.
He does. I
200% gonna see Reggie and his husband matching outfits. Thank you so much for being with us. This is absolutely incredible. I hope you got as much out of it as I did, and thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good.